So what I wanted to do is begin where I left off last year. So last year, I showed you what were our strategic priorities. This list up here, literally a year ago. And I wanted to take a few minutes to sort of give you an update where we have made progress within those priorities, kind of take stock of the progress over the last year. And then I'll follow up with sort of a new set of additional priorities. This one's remained. This one's haven't been finished by any stretch, but there's additional ones that we've picked up and give you a little bit of an idea of where we want to go. But we need your feedback to make sure we're going the right direction. This is what this session is about, really getting to connect with you and make sure that directionally as we look forward, we're going where you want us to go. So first I'll talk a little bit about the end-to-end workflows. Kevin mentioned already, this was a real focus for the last 2.5, 3 years, really kind of bringing the platform together, stop thinking about product level capabilities, think about workflows, think about scientists, what do they need to do day to day, end to end. Couple big accomplishments. Back in April, we released the Signals Research Suite. That was kind of the beginning of a full SaaS set of capabilities. We had capabilities in data processing, capabilities in data analytics, but they were separate from the platform. Now they are really integrated as a SaaS deliverable, where the data that you collect is in the same place where you can analyze it and get value out of it. Another example, and this is just a handful of examples, is worksheets. This is work we did over the last year or so. We began our journey more in the research end of science, where you need the flexibility, where you need the easy data capture. Things change day to day. What's most valuable is being able to adapt the software to whatever the scientist needs. But as you move towards the development, the more systematic parts of the organization that have to do more validated workflows, more reproducible workflows, we've been asked to really lock down, help kind of produce more reproducible capabilities. So worksheets are a new addition to the platform, where you can very easily design what used to be paper forms or other electronic forms, and then have that control of step-by-step verification that the work has been done, reproducibility. And like everything else in Signals, it comes in kind of month by month. So over the last year, there are probably 3 or 4 releases that have added capabilities to worksheets. They're pretty complete by now. We're not done. There's more to be added in terms of calculations and further control capabilities. But I think this is something that impacts not just those of you that are more into the development and more structured data, but also formulations. This provides capabilities to capture formulation data as well. And finally, I'll mention that Inventa analysis element. This is about bringing the platform together and being able to have the dashboards, the analytic dashboards, in the experiment. Being able to go to your experiment and then have an overview of the whole project or the whole program right within the context of an experiment. See your results, see the summary view across, without having to jump out of context, without having to go into a specialized dashboard. The second topic was around new modalities. It was in pharma, as you all know, there's been continued evolution over the scientific capabilities, moving from small molecule into biologics, now into conjugates and so forth. And again, probably 2.5 years ago, we recognized that as sort of an underserved part of the community. The tools that the scientists were using and are still using are really not up to par. They're having to jump their hoops, make up their own tools, and really are underserved in terms of capabilities. So we've done a number of things here, and they're not just in one part of the platform. They really pervade the whole platform. The most visible one is the addition of the Helm editor within the platform. So that's probably the best Helm editor in the industry right now, directly built into the browser, directly built into the Signals platform. A lot of collaborative work with many of you to get it right, to make sure it has the capabilities, and a great move forward in terms of the ability to represent the molecules. But not done either. So we got a lot of feedback about adding capabilities, adding features to it. So now, to me, the most exciting thing is that because this is now part of the Signals platform, it gets updated every month, right? So your ideas don't have to wait another year for the next ChemDraw release. They get delivered much more quickly. We also continue to add more specific intelligence to the platform. For example, in the area of RNA, We added sequence intelligence last year, but later this year we put specific tools around recognizing RNA sequences and making it easier to work with them. We continue to do that in every aspect of the platform with blast searching throughout. Again, the Helm monomer management is another example as a challenge in the industry. Helm's starting to really, after many years, take shape as the standard, but many of you don't have a standardized way to manage your collections of custom monomers. So we baked that right into the platform, both a service that you can use from your external applications, as well as the tools for your experts to manage those collections of custom monomers that then build out the complex modalities. I won't say too much about this one because I don't want to take still the thunder from later presentations, but this was one of the key initiatives Dan and I started last year. This is a long-standing problem in the industry, collaboration. Many of you are already collaborating within our platform, but you're doing it, let's say, the old-fashioned way. You're letting your collaborators into the notebook or into the platform. You're having to do some careful controls over security and onboarding and offboarding of users and segregating their world from your world in kind of manual and complex ways. We felt we could do a lot better than that. So we've added an overlay capability where if you have the Signals platform, we make it much easier to onboard those collaborators on a per project basis. We have upped the ante in terms of security, how you can control the visibility of not just the data, but even specific identifiers and columns of data. We've made the onboarding really seamless. Provide project tracking tools. That's another challenge in the industry, like really where is my collaboration project? Can I pivot quickly and change the direction of that project? We also added design tooling. This is the first, the beginning of adding some design tools, very specifically around synthesis CROs when you're communicating your ideas about what molecules to make next and so forth. We've added some capabilities to begin, kind of the design, part of synthesis. And then probably most importantly, this is where the biggest pain is in this space is the receiving the data. Right? We know that the data comes in with the collaborators in Excel files that are very difficult to digest, to parse, to bring into your analytic platform. So we've worked to build some very sophisticated tooling to make that data analysis ready when it comes from multiple CROs in different formats. Next was laboratory automation, instrument and data integration. Again, you'll hear a lot more from our colleagues at Cytera later on in the discussion. There's also a booth outside. This, to me, about 2 years ago, was really kind of the frontier. I'm always thinking ahead, and it was like I saw once the community adopted Signals. Took some time to get it, up and running, and all your teams and capturing your data. The next value proposition is to automate, right? Many of the things that your users do manually, just make them, happen automatically. Bring the files to the right place, get them processed in the right way, push the data out to the robots that need to accomplish the tasks. So we've been working to figure out, the best approach to make it easier. Many of you have done integrations very successfully with the platform. This is about making them easier, accelerating them. So we think this is a great tooling from Cytera that gives you a low-code environment to be able to connect things and make those integrations faster and more reliable. And finally, Kevin mentioned this one, also very important. We've had a very healthy practice around clinical analytics for over a decade, about 12 years, where we use Spotfire and our expertise to solve clinical analytics problems within clinical trials. We're really focused around analyzing the scientific data, not so much the operational data. But we saw an opportunity here, seeing the success of the Signals platform, to really productize it. And what do I mean by that? SaaS delivery. Right? Just nothing to install, and it gets out upgraded and so forth. Modularized, so different workflows are built into the platform itself. It's easier to create new dashboards. It's easier to integrate the data. So kind of taking the technology that we built in the research space and directly translating it into the clinical space. We think this is going to be really beneficial in terms of the speed of understanding clinical trial data. Failure, speed to fail is also very important, right? With clinical trials being so expensive, being able to understand the scientific output of those trials early on, right? Make decisions, change directions, change the science of the trial based on that data. So that's about it for what we did since last year, and which is quite a bit considering just a few months have gone by since we gave you that list. This is now sort of where we're thinking to go next. Early days still, this is some of the new ideas that we're having, and this is not something you might see, next month in the next release of Signals, but directionally, right, over the next few months, over the next couple, 3 years, right, these are the things that we care about. The first one is probably the most ambitious one. So let me explain. Today we live in a kind of experiment-centric world. I think we're very good at knowledge capture. You are in your lab, you're doing your science, we're there capturing what you did. Systems are flexible, they can take in your data, exactly how you designed the experiment, how you executed it, what data you obtained, what results you obtained. And the knowledge is there to reuse within the organization. What we're not doing historically, and it's not really the purview of electronic notebooks in general, is get more into the helping your scientists actually do it, right? The specific workflows, help them step by step in a more sample-centric. What happens to the sample? What entities get created? How they move from one test to the next, right? Much more proactive, not just capturing the knowledge, but actually helping them do those complex multi-step processes. Process and workflow. You keep coming to us, and saying, does your platform do this? Does it help my scientists, step through the steps? And today, it doesn't go quite as far, right? So that's directionally what we want to do. We think that we can, continue to add value, especially in the more complex processes, right? Many of these experiments, especially around new modalities, have become very complicated, multi-step, many intermediate entities being generated, many teams being involved, elucidation techniques at every step, right? So we feel that moving from a kind of knowledge capture to driving the execution is going to give you a lot of value within the platform. And I'm saying this right now as we're starting to work on it because I want to hear back from you in the next couple of days and beyond, right? Where do you see, we can't do it all at once, but where do you see the biggest pain points? Where do you see the biggest value add if we provide deeper tools in execution, in process, in workflow? We're ready to invest heavily in this space. This will not be a sort of 3-month build. It'll be probably a 2 to 3 year build, but I think it will be really impactful in the platform. And part of that, I think, also will continue to add more capabilities towards the right of the diagram, towards the scale-up QA/QC manufacturing, right? A lot of those more process-driven capabilities will give you better tooling in that space as well. The next one is a product we are launching very quickly in the next few weeks, literally, with the release of ChemDraw 23. We're also introducing Signals ChemDraw. And as the caption says, really, it's just adding all the SaaS goodness that we have in the platform into ChemDraw. So, excuse me. The first message is that we're not taking away ChemDraw. You still get ChemDraw, product you've loved for 35 plus years. Your scientists and your chemists really love it. You're still getting it. You're getting a new access mechanism, a new delivery mechanism, faster updates and upgrades, easier installation, easier activation because it's being delivered through the Signals platform. But then you're also getting the value of sharing in the platform, collaborating, being able to share the files, to search the files within the platform, to organize your ChemDraw documents within the platform. And that's what Signals ChemDraw is a new application, web-based, SaaS-based application where you can do ChemDraw, document management, document editing, sharing, collaborating, and so forth. We are also adding a couple of other tools, a collections tool for managing collections of molecules and related data. And most importantly to me is that we've taken the step into being able to deliver the ChemDraw capabilities within the platform, which gives us that speed of reaction. If you tell us, what we can do, and in ChemDraw it's a little harder. 35 years it's not that easy to find sort of what's missing in the platform, but to the extent that you do, we can turn it around much more quickly. Signals design. This was born out of many of our customers coming to us and saying, hey, you're holding our data in the Signals platform. You have great analytics, especially visual analytics and ability to correlate results with with our materials, but we have data science teams that are having to extract the data out, use some, scripting tools and environments to be able to do their modeling, right? And some of our customers felt that we could help them first and foremost through our ability to deliver these complex systems as a service, right? So the infrastructure, can their data scientists and their even citizen scientists be able to do their modeling, their calculations, their property calculations in a more comfortable environment, not having to leave the Signals platform, getting access to the computation capabilities without all the complexity of how do you set them up and run them. So again, the early project, but we're looking at how do we provide within the platform the computational capabilities. We're not today the experts in the algorithms, in the AI/ML algorithms. We have partners that may contribute to those algorithms. You yourselves, many of your data science teams have your very specific models and very specific tools for your particular programs. So we're thinking about this first step, how do we help set up the infrastructure to make that easier. And also in our platform we have Spotfire, and Michael will talk to you in a few minutes about how that has an outlet, great outlet to do the modeling and the artificial intelligence capabilities. And last but not least, this is something that I personally, face probably once or twice a week. I get a phone call from somebody in the broader chem bioinformatics industry asking me how they can jump onto the platform. They recognize the success of the platform. They recognize the large community of scientists. They have capabilities adjacent to ours. We don't do everything, obviously, but they have, whether it's in the reaction planning space, or whether it is in the instrument integration or lab automation or new interfaces within the lab twin, who are here with us today as well, right? So these partners come and say, hey, how can we participate in the platform? And I feel that it's good for you, right, if you can get additional capabilities from our partners, and I want to make that easy. So we're trying to work with our partners. How do we, if somebody has a good capability that's valuable to you, how can we make it easy for your scientists to access, integrate it in a way that makes sense to the scientist, easy for you to acquire that capability, to just add licenses. It's a little ambitious because, quite honestly, I don't know if we're a big enough industry to do that. This kind of partner ecosystem, kind of marketplace, makes a lot of sense when you have a really large market, right? There's work that goes into building that ecosystem, into building those mechanisms that make it really easy for you to push a button and say, yeah, I want this additional capability. It's a lot of investment into that, and I'm not 100% convinced that it's a big enough ecosystem. But we want to give it a try. We're going to take kind of a cautious approach. Some of our key partners, you'll see us maybe put out a couple of feelers. This is a new capability you can click and add to the platform, and see how it goes. And if you guys find value in it, if you find it's easier to acquire those capabilities through us than directly from the partners, and that is convenient and that is valuable, then we'll incrementally invest in it and see if we can make the platform sort of much deeper in terms of its capabilities. So just as a summary, those are the things we're thinking about for the next, say, 2 years or so. Hopefully, if you're here next year, I'll give you some update into what has happened since then. And with that, I will sort of open up for any questions.